the next question that I really have for you is in terms of trying to understand the relationship between, say, the fintechs and the traditional banking. And if we really look at it, what role do we really think that these play in terms of the fintech and the traditional banking in driving, say, financial inclusion, especially for the unbanked population or the underserved populations of India, because there's still a big majority of it. While we see all these transformations happening in the urban population, but there's a whole lot which is unbanked, underserved. So, what's your thought on that?
Coming to the first part of your question, the kind of journey or the transformation that we've all seen between traditional banking and today banking along with technology and the whole fintech industry. I think, Meera, you would agree that looking at going to a bank to deposit a check, or let's say taking out cash and standing in queue and taking a token, to just getting things done at our fingertips, be it a payment, be it just let's say swiping a card and taking out money or whatnot. I think times have changed, and things have been done so very seamlessly, just through press of of a button through your mobile app. You don't even need a computer nowadays. So the industry has really evolved, and now with this evolution, we also now understand that in India we cater to both kind of population. One is which are more urban, and they have access to everything, and then we have this rural population who do not have access to a lot of these things. And so we would see here, it will be, we'll have to wait, or we'll have to educate more and more, and that's where our media industry or the banking personnel are doing their job, where they go out, they try and talk a lot more about how do each individual can probably do things at without even visiting a bank. That was one example where when this whole Aadhaar-enabled payment system was launched, somebody who do not know even how to use an ATM can enter their Aadhaar number and still withdraw cash, which was an initiative by the government where they can do a lot more. Banks are also trying to kind of go out and educate people, especially who are coming to take loans, that hey, taking loan is much more simplified now. You do not need to do a lot more what you used to do, and through the app you can just open an account through the app. So this is an ever evolving thing, and it will take its own course of time, especially in a country like India, where while now the mass population have been quite well educated, a lot of people even in the rural areas are using mobile apps, but you still have population who do not use it, who are not very comfortable with it. And that's where I think maybe we as as an industry in the finance or the banking industry has to go out and tell them how that's safe. People still have that fear, and they want to stick to their traditional ways of banking, that hey, using on your mobile doesn't mean that your money will just get siphoned off. It's all safe, and a lot of education needs to be done, and that has to be done both from the government side and also it has to be a joint effort from the government and as well as the banking industry. Now with so many banking industries and the small banks coming up, I'm sure they can do a much better job.
Absolutely. And I think even with the Aadhaar-enabled payments, such an important topic, and one that is, I think, close to all of India, because there are so many, at the same time, while there is this whole thing of being very positive and centric to making it safety as a paramount for it, there are certain places where we see gaps. And I think that is where my next question would be for you. Where do you see technologies where we especially talk about the predictions and the future trends like blockchain and digital wallets, plus the example of, say, even Aadhaar-enabled payments? What do you feel in these specific areas, even in the future as we walk into it? How do you see and believe would be the significant growth and at the same time the trends that are coming in, say, in fintech, if you want to kind of, touch upon that.
Sure. So here there are two aspects. One is, talking about this whole, let's say UPI, or, using a lot of these companies. You would have seen that uh, uh, big companies like Apple and Google, all of them are getting into. Google has Google Pay, Apple Pay, Samsung Pay. These companies, who have probably been a phone company, are now moving into, these kind of uh, things, these kind of finance instruments, and they are doing it because they are seeing value in it. And as a country, I think, we are the first one to launch the UPI system, and you would not believe that a lot of other countries are now willing to adopt this technology. They are trying to understand that, okay, how does this whole thing works, and can they actually launch it in their own country? And that's the power, and that's where, so I see a lot of benefit in it. I see a lot of upside, and in terms of the whole fintech industry, if I have to talk about, while there are, there are caveats, there are rules which needs to come in through these payments, and which the government is trying to kind of learn and implement at the same point in time. But the industry as such has grown multifold. The whole, you would see nowadays that, at a click of a button, so many things are happening, and that was not the case earlier. So this whole industry is really evolving, and I feel a lot of upside here. I feel that this particular space has a lot more to do, and we as a country have really done a very good job, and we can probably do more.
Absolutely. And I think that was so well touched upon, because I think UPI has become such a big use case around the world, making us one of the top favorites of how we've, been enabling our consumers, enabling, even though the people, like you rightly pointed out earlier, we are at the cusp of, all of us who are well aware of technology. And we also have a big segment of people who are the underserved population. Yet, I think UPI has been thriving with more than 75 billion transactions. And I think that's fantastic as of, I think, somewhere the mid of this, the first quarter of this year. So those numbers are obviously only going to be going up with every time that we're making those payments, and changing the way we do banking. Any specific thoughts on what the future holds for us when we really look at it in terms of, say, the finance leaders, or even from a corporate sector? I know we've just touched so much about the banking, but I'd like to change the thoughts or the tracks here and go back to a little bit about the corporate experience in finance, and talk about how the finance leaders today are, at that journey where they're talking about so much about finance itself, and they're talking about technology. Do you think this adds to the existing pressure itself? Because there is always the quarter end, month end, year end closures. Plus, on top of it, we're talking about advancements, technologies, and we're talking about what can we do and how do we protect our, clients, our employees, everybody. Do you think today's finance leaders have it tougher than ever before?
I would say it adds and subtracts at the same time. So it keeps adding and keep kind of, so like the technology is changing. So today, a lot of my work probably has become easy because, I'm becoming more process dependent rather than person dependent. While at the same time, while I'm getting process dependent, either the processes have certain gaps which needs to be fulfilled, or the processes have, and we can always change it, or we can, the technology is changing, the way we are doing business is changing, so the processes also keeps changing, the technology keeps changing, and hence we'll have to change the process. So the challenges never go down, and this is not even, not only in finance, but I would say this is all across, because as the technologies get, more advanced, we as leaders will have to probably try and think a step ahead of it. We'll have to see how we can embrace the technology, and embracing that is a big thing. I think today's the most successful leaders are the ones who probably embrace the technology quickly and move along with it, and not somebody who would still wait for somebody else to first embrace it and then use that as a test case and then apply on yourself. The more fast forward you are in embracing the technology, the better you will be placed as a leader. And being a finance leader, I'm sure how we have seen AI coming in, the use of artificial intelligence in something like, let's say, supporting. We had a lot of these when we support business finance. We had these sales people who used to kind of come back to us saying that, hey, what's our numbers looking like? Am I on target? What is my numbers looking like? What's my revenue? What's my margins? And today we have a bot in place where you just kind of, they don't have to come to you. They can just type their question and the bot will answer that, hey, Mr. X, you have achieved, say, 70% of your target. Your margin target are at 80%. You need to do this many more sales to achieve 100% of the target. Or at a real time basis, they can know what their commission is looking like, depending on the revenue, depending on the margins that they have brought in. And so look at something where they had to wait for 1 quarter to get, or if they calculate something by themselves, they didn't know whether it's right or not right. But today they can just type that and all done. And I, sitting as a finance leader, I can have reports, I can look at, and I will have analysis which are kind of already produced and given to me. I don't have to, there'll be like transcripts which reads my data, analyzes my data, and brings out those important points. And that's the power of AI, which I'm getting, which probably I had to spend a lot of time. So that is where I'm getting that benefit also. While it adds on to work, that yes, there is a pressure to ensure that you are among the latest technologies, you adapt them and you implement them as soon as possible. But at the same time, it also helps you and gives you new insights which probably you wouldn't even have thought, or you didn't even know the power of AI. And that's where I feel that it's not enough. I mean, what we are looking now, we don't even know what's coming in. It's like we're just sitting on tip of the iceberg.
Absolutely. And I think with that, given the fact that there's so much that the finance leaders obviously are today doing, which is not just looking at the financial numbers, the company's overall strategy, trying to do the fostering a culture of innovation, if I can say so, with all these technology advancements. Do you think that suits in that case, or carves out that CFOs are better transitioned to become CEOs? Because I think given that there is just so much of things that today, this is not your traditional CFOs. These are your people who are being just not good with numbers, but they are also good with the strategy, innovation, technology. Do you think they're better prepared for broader responsibilities, which kind of uniquely prepares them not just to be leading financial leadership roles, but also like a broad company's vision to becoming, say, a CEO?
Absolutely, yes. I feel that today any successful CFO is somebody who is an enabler. And that's a term that when I was with Dell, and Tom Sweet always used to say that there was a traditional finance, and he had laid down key skills about traditional finance and the latest, the current generation finance. And I think one word that caught me and my eyes was enablers. We are people who work with the business to ensure that we are enablers, and we given, while it's our responsibility to ensure that we are protecting the company's interest, but at the same time we want to make sure that the numbers are being met, the vision of the company is being met, and the strategies are being delivered. So while today's CFOs, because they are so technologically they are they have been empowered with technology, and they have so much of time to discuss business. Because when you want to, probably, let's say you get into a deal and you want to ensure that this deal should happen, while one bit of it is the numbers aspect of it, but then you get into much broader discussions in terms of company's vision, strategy, where in the next 5 years this deal is going to help me, and so on. It gives so much of time for a person or for a CFO to kind of get into those discussions. And that is where probably the CFOs are transitioning slowly into, taking on broader roles. And it all comes with experience. And when you get so much of time, when you get so much of exposure, why not? They would, this will be an automatic transition towards becoming a CEO, and they can always take that place because they are getting that support. One, they are good with their numbers, they know where the companies are doing with their numbers, plus now they are getting into the business part of it, how the company is performing as a business unit, and what is the plan for the future. And they can now take decisions with the help of technologies which are, let's say, 10 years down the line, and how it would impact, be it cash flow, or be it from a revenue growth standpoint, or anything else for that matter. So that I feel that absolutely they can transition, or they can look into getting into the CEO role very soon.
So with that, I think I would hope to see you there soon, and
Thank you.
be your well wisher and always your supporter. And I think that draws us to the end. So thank you so much, Dhiraj, for being there and spending the time with us today, taking us through your insightful journey from how you started off to your experiences in your journey, plus your insights on the industry and, of course, on the leadership itself, and the talking about the trends. So I really, really appreciate having to be able to drill down and get this quality time with you. And thank you so much